This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
So we are. Anyway, welcome to the Stanley Parable. It's fine. We kind of just let it talk anyway. There's something we can do by turning off these computers to get like a super secrety ending, but don't know how to fuck with that, so we won't. Alright, this is the Stanley Parable. Everyone probably gets how this game works, and if you don't, you'll figure it out. Is this motherfucker typing backwards? What a legend.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay. Sure did. Look, chat, we know the weird bullshit that can happen by going off the rails, but let's get a very basic idea of what's going on.
There was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
We're broke Wednesday. Nice. Let's see, we got weekly target administration, marketing Mondays, 451's private time, question mark, group 400X, group 4SX. This book is too small. Tuesday, termination Tuesdays, okay. We're broke Wednesday. That's pretty good. Boss's inspection. Something mergers, spooky. In the weekly review. And then there's an office party. Hell yeah. Rates of increases in graphs per slide. Oh. Please no charts. I'm begging. Okay. Right now, you're both of them. Monetize free to play. God, if they could. Make no mistake.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Yeah, it won't be happening.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Mm-hmm.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Yeah. This is important for later. It is.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Wait, this is important for something? We've just seen
Standing
everyone
around
do it
doing
because
nothing?
it's funny.
Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
No, I had a joke. Oh, okay. Thought there was like genuinely something to be used this for later.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending?
The broom closet ending was my favourite."
I hope your friends find this concerning.
It's the exact shit Kane has to put up with. Amazing.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Oh, it isn't, my brother. This broom closet doesn't mean a broom closet. It sure is.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system.
This is true.
And you collapsed on the keyboard.
Yes, that is what happened.
Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right. When you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
So, Tress, how far did we get in Republic Commandos? Because we genuinely remember starting the game, getting the first guy, and then stopping. Not much. Did we get to the hangar? Because we both remember murdering a lot of people and not enough people. And then everyone started talking about fucking hair coupons. We didn't know why in a game about fucking clones. Technically, yes. Oh, phenomenal.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board.
Good to be here.
I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Alright. Enter the closet again. We think he actually, like, real quick, he just goes, "Are you fucking serious? You went in there too? Fine, I'm just gonna leave. Tell me when you're done." Like, we think there's one more joke and we forgot to do it, but it's... You brought up hair coupons. Yeah, and you bring up Kroger bathroom buns. What do you want from us? To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Ending by breaking the game. There's a lot of ending stress. We're doing the deluxe edition. There's like a fuckload, and we only remember like some of the basics, like the one in the basement, and if you don't follow him, like his orders. Have you entered the window? You know we can't jump, right? But yes. At the start, we know about that ending stress, but we don't know how to do it. We think you have to turn off computers first and then do it.
Stepping
But you gotta,
into his
like,
manager's
glitch it.
office,
We
Stanley
know
was
about
once
that.
again
We just don't know how
stunned to discover not
fuck
an
with it.
indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the
Glitch to get up on the
Stanley
desk.
happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Thank you.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Do you ever think about how this is all made in Source? And we believe one iteration was made in Gary's mod?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley
We think about
realized
that
he
sometimes.
felt a bit
Was it?
peculiar.
Yeah, there was a game
It
before
was
this
a
that was all in
stirring of
Source.
emotion in his chest,
And we think there was
as though
one
he
where it
felt more
was
free to
made
think for
in
himself,
Gary's mod
to
first.
question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now?
Or it was like made
when
as a
for
little
years
mod.
It had never
Like a free
occurred to
mod you
him.
could grab.
This question would not go unanswered for long.
And then it became a full game.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Another time. The original was made in Gary's mod. That's what we thought. Escape? Not yet. Let's trust. We're doing the story normally for right now. Let's get an idea of the story so we can realize how to snap it
The
in
lights
fucking
rose
half.
on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength
the remake.
to find out?
Well, technically, this is the deluxe edition of the remake, which has more shit. Break it? Not yet.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Fired.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
No, Chad, it couldn't be.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His
Employee
own life
pirate.
in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible?
Muslim is correct.
Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay. Boop.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber,
Curious
he
game of all
realized
time,
none
truly
of this
was.
mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Easy game, chat. What? Alright, moving on.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Yeah, a little bit. No.
Ah, then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question.
Okay.
What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky.
Yeah, that's about right.
Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Okay. So, chat, you know we're going to choose the other option now, right? You know there's,
all of his co-workers were gone.
You know there's no fucking universe where that doesn't happen,
Stanley
right?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Sure am.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like, right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Oh, in that case, Trish, you want to join the call? You want to join a call? He said he's going to make it as miserable as possible. I'm sure. Surely a goblin like you can figure out how to top him in literally 15 seconds. Oh god, alright, we take it back. You can't be worse than this.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old, and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable, and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong, and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
Sorry, is he doing it again? Sorry, is he fucking round doing it? He'll get bored eventually, right? You think the narrator's all-time encore? Yes, please sing it 12 more times. You think it's the narrator actually playing the guitar, or do you think like somebody else did that? Also, didn't this guy make the beginner's guide? I think he did, right? Yes? Okay. We can never remember if he made that or the dude made Quap made that, but the guy who made Quap made the one with the dude in the cauldron. Getting over it, yeah, that was him. Yeah, funny enough, the guy who made Quap, that he made Getting Over It. That was his game. Considering you went from a funny game where you could never figure out how to make the track star run to actually a pretty fun, interesting game. Well, yeah, those two should collab. Absolutely. The dude from Getting Over It and the guy from Stanley Parable should do some shit. Oh, did we win? Did we win the standoff of wits? We're going to assume so.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door.
Let's kind of finish off the go with it route.
Yet there was not a single
Talk
person
less.
there either.
Got it.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Evo, let's go. We're gonna slowly work backwards off this path, chat. We're gonna slowly work backwards.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Also, we know about that ending. We don't remember what happens in it, but we do remember it.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building.
Oh, we're about to say, you think we would
Stanley's
walk off here and
coworkers.
just kill ourselves?
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Mm-hmm. No, that's an ending, actually. No, it's for a different place. The jumping off. No, it's a different place. You basically have to kill yourself.
This mind control facility,
It's not in this place, though.
To believe it couldn't be true.
You're right, that is an end.
Had Stanley really been under
We're trying to kind of go
control
through the
all this
basic
time?
endings
Was
because
this
the
only
deluxe
reason he
has
was
like
happy with his boring
new
job?
cool
That
shit,
his emotions
but a lot of
had
it makes fun of the fact of
manipulated
if
to
you played
accept it
this game.
blindly?
So we just kind of want to get like a lot of the basics out of the way.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof.
Okay, chat.
The heart
We
of the
need
operation.
Tress, you
Controls
need to be on the ready to
labeled
answer
with
this
emotions.
question.
Happy
We're pretty sure
or sad
it's
or
you
content.
can't.
Walking,
But
eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past
how do we
began
stop
to sink in,
the self-destruct
Stanley
sequence?
decided that this machinery... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the control.
Is there a way to stop what's about to
After
happen?
they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for
Numbers?
yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Go ahead and look up. You got time.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do.
We've
But
never
you
seen
need
anyone
to
stop it.
understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you
Shit,
want
what are
to
we
throw my
doing?
story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Shit.
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly
didn't
and
work.
then dying alone.
Tress.
I let the
Tress
office sink
out.
into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better.
Fuck.
My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not?
Tress,
These
please.
are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
We figured it out. We've cracked the code.
Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door.
No, there's something to do with the
Anything,
fucking...
Something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Okay, so chat, we absolutely saw what we had to do there.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Confused, why was there...
Feeling a wave
The
of
office is
disbelief,
different.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment...
No, we know how to do it. We saw it, how to do it. There was definitely, like, mechanics. Also, we fucked it. I guess we'll be skedaddling then. So, I guess we'll head downstairs then. We've noticed a bit of a predicament. A bit of goof, if you will. A gaffe, perhaps, even? Well... New content? Okay. So we'll, I guess we'll skedaddle. Yep. elevator's out, so you know. Long hallways, brothers. Okay. I guess
All of his co-workers were
I guess we
gone.
just fucking left
What
in that
did it
ending.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Guess that was the fuck it, we're going home ending. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Alright, we'll real quick go downstairs, see what happens with that, and then we'll do the escape.
Yet there was not a single person here.
Oh, we want to give the
either.
bomb one more
Feeling
chance.
a wave of disbelief,
Think we figured out how
Stanley
it works.
decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
What?
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
What?
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply
Okay, Tris, here's the thing. They're being cheeky about that. We absolutely on the screens saw the red one somehow become like you need to press dark blue on for 3. We think if we did all the colored buttons with the thing on the screen, then turn them on, then we could get out somehow.
leaving himself?
Maybe in the
Believing
original,
that
but
if
what
he's
if they
asleep,
what
he
if they
doesn't have to
changed
take
it for
responsibility
deluxe
for himself?
just to fuck with people even
Stanley
further?
is as awake right now
They
as
do
he's
it.
ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job.
We have a wife?
All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She rose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Anyway, about that escape
What could
ending,
it
chat.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came
One
to a
more, and
set
then we
of
can start
two
fucking
open
with this
doors,
story.
He entered the door on his left.
And then we'll figure out how to activate the new shit.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alright, chat, we just have to escape.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments
Oh, fuck
with some
off.
calming new age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Yeah, very funny. That's how the new age music, exactly. Did you know that, Tress? Aren't you hip and or coolio, as they say?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
You don't know that.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to
Nope.
turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Sure am. This moment didn't raise no bitch. What? Holy shit, we live.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, it reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Well, shit.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Oh. Oh, nice.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Well, that sure was weird, chat. Anyway, let's get on to those other endings, shall we?
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't think we will be doing that, Mr. Narrator Man.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yep. It's a good office.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Well,
at this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
What, everyone really hated how much Stanley loved the fucking break room?
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message. But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room.
It is pretty
and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
I sure could have.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Huh? The plot
thickens. Stanley, your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Or jump off that platform. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Okay. But if we did, though.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
So does he go to Project Moon Wrestling? Nice. Cool stuff. Alright, let's get moving.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content, we'll get there. Don't you worry, chat. We'll go to that new content.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
We'll get to it.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, won't be doing that.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Good. Good, as they should. As they should.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
You can't
Stanley
jump.
decided
No,
to
seriously,
go
we
to the meeting
disabled
room.
it.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We'll get to that new... Not that one. There's... Oh, we know, Tress.
When
Oh, we know.
Stanley came to a set
We were
of 2
considering,
open
we were
doors,
considering doing it
this was
before the
not the
last
correct
one.
way to the meeting room.
We considered
and
doing that one
Stanley knew
first
it
'cause it's
perfectly
funny.
well.
We
Perhaps
don't.
he wanted to stop by the employee
Oh, we
lounge
don't.
first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
We actually didn't know about the suicide one. We kind of figured, just because
Stanley
you
was
can't
so
jump
bad at
off.
following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Okay, but why do they think somebody
Look, Stanley,
would
I
jump
think
off
perhaps
this?
we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Danger.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No, I don't think that'll be happening, Fred. Do we do it, chat? Do we give him a chance? Do we? Nope. Okay, cool.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
Don't think we did.
Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience
10 out of
with this
10.
new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices?
10 out of
Feel
10.
free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from?
Okay, so chat, if we go off the lore that this is all in Stanley's head, and the ending where he walks out is kind of, like the one where you quit out is kind of the true thing, and these two are just go. This is more like Stanley actually trying to design his little game in his
How
head.
did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's
Fuck
an
it.
instinct,
We're gonna add
honestly,
another door.
A calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try.
You got it.
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look, chat. Let's take a gander. Holy shit. Skip the intro. Stanley. Nice.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Absolutely 20 out of 20.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on.
Oh, phenomenal.
And now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right. And if he reaches the fire, you fail.
Okay.
It's a very meaningful game. All about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life.
Okay.
I think the art world will really take notice.
They'll take
but
notice.
Of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Alright, chat. Chat, we got 4 hours of this. This is what hell looks like. Fuck the baby.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
Okay.
Let's see. What do we have here?
Oh, bro, we gonna play some Halo?
Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our background?
You gotta be fucking
What is our
joking.
motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man, spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted, erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Yes, we're just gonna play Lookout or Firewatch. You know, we're just gonna casually go play Firewatch. It's fine, chat. Never played Firewatch either, so you know, good experience so far. Yes, wouldn't mind it being Firewatch. We think that'd be cool. Don't know if we get paid for it. Don't know how all that works. Would love to do it though. Firewatch Stanley Edition, damn right, best edition.
Oh, no, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Whoa.
Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Fucking, Space Marine might do that for you.
I think this
A lot of
is
walls.
just the thing.
A lot of big walls. Oh, what the fuck is
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of
Rocket
some
League?
kind back
Yeah,
here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball.
We think this
Oh,
is
what
technically
fun.
a new ending they
We shall
added for
run
this,
the
but what
bases
the
and do a
fuck?
touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must.
Okay, so in the original, like the original ending, it just cuts off after he says like, "All right, I'm done," and he just leaves. But for the deluxe edition, we think they added like more to the bit.
Okay, Stanley,
Oh,
here's the
yeah.
ball. Have fun.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure,
Go
then
on.
surely multiple balls
Go
makes for
on.
an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. That's a lot. This would make Rocket League more interesting. We'll give it that. Not sure if it is in a good way or the way it was intended, but,
Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over.
balls.
That's
Oh.
right. Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you'd like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
Okay. So how do we skedaddle? Can't skedaddle up there. Alright, what if we jump in the goalpost? Shibley. Time to slam a Shipley. Hell yeah. Whatever in the hell a Shipley is.
Hold on. What are you doing?
Oh, what have we done?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Hell yeah. Oh, it's like it's the old Gary's Mod set. Like, this is how it looked back then. Oh, that's cool. I think that's what's happening.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Nice. All right, let's keep moving.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand.
At this point,
it
we
was
sure
only a
do.
matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time.
Not yet. Still got one more ending.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee
You ever
lounge
noticed that after
first,
this game
just
came
to
out,
admire
like so
it.
many YouTubers and like streamers
Standing
instantly
now in
started
this
like going
incredible
against
room,
narrators?
Stanley but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Like there was such a trust in
Stanley was
the
so bad
narrator.
at
I feel
following
like at the
directions,
start,
it's
now everyone's like,
incredible
"Nah,
he
I can't
wasn't
trust him."
5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy,
I
really.
never
I'm
noticed
not.
that. It's
I
probably
realize
just in
that
our head,
investing
but
your
it kind of
trust in
feels like
someone else
before
would
that,
be
like everyone,
difficult,
like whatever
but
the narrator
fact
said,
is
all right,
that
that's
the
what you do.
story
To
has
do. But this
been
game was
about
like
nothing but you all this
following
time.
him has a story, but there's so
someone
much
you've
more
been
happening
neglecting,
over here.
Stanley. Someone you... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration
Kinda
for
like
others?
Undertale
Are you
with
that
morality.
convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
It's like
Why,
it was Undertale
I don't
and
know
this
how
game
to
were kind of
convince
back to
you of this,
back.
but I really
And those
do
people got
want
really
to help
suspicious
you,
and
to
like
show you something
fascinated
beautiful.
in getting what games might
Let
do
me
to trick
prove
them.
it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important.
All right.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Okay, what's all this then?
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I feel happy.
So in Gary's mod, they did this by
I
actually
actually
having the
feel
noise bubbles you can use in
happy.
Gary's mod playing the music. If we remember right. Fucked up is, Chad. We would like to hang out here for a bit, but places to be, new content to see. Also, we forgot how to activate the adventure line then. Let's get going.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley. No! Oh. No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do... My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Well, now we just feel bad. Like, damn, man.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Wait, what? We'll get to you. We need to find that yellow line. That's like the last thing we
Stanley
need
came
to
to a
do,
set
real
of
quick.
2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh, we think we know how to get. But no, man,
Stanley
that
felt
is
lightheaded,
just sad. I
butterflies
feel
in his
bad.
stomach. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
We think like a lot of YouTubers in the game came out just
And
kind
so
of
he
like
detoured
really
through the maintenance
talking
section,
over it a bit,
walked
not really
straight
getting
ahead
it.
to the
Damn it.
opposite door, and got back
That
on
ending
track.
kind of hurts. I just want to look at this pretty light show. What the fuck? So where is this taking us?
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
All right.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a
Chet,
spoiler.
did you notice that when we were down there, you could actually see this platform? This was
Quick,
always
Stanley,
here.
close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We do love this chat, especially if you consider it to actually be like Stanley and himself
When
just
Stanley-
talking.
Wait.
Holy shit,
Wait,
what?
what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Okay. So this is how the back rooms were created. Stanley just really wanted to go on an adventure. Got it. Can that be the plot of the backrooms chat? It's like a pretty sick plot, actually. What was what you did? I was holding back to let you torture yourself. Damn.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We promise that the DLC has some wild shit that's gonna happen. Well,
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Where the fuck are we?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Oh, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Nice.
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Nice, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Fucking Jack Baker comes in. Welcome to family, son.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Okay.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction.
What if we had
Onward,
gone
Stanley,
all
to
through the other
destiny.
2 doors, though? Do you
Nope.
think?
Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story.
Okay, cool.
Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Got it. Cool stuff, man. Got it.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you...
It did lead us to the
after
story.
everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Line's still
what,
here.
Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
Okay.
Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Sure.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination.
We do
Whatever
Halo.
it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Halo.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley,
You
I'd
trademarked.
also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Alright, so we're thinking for our story, we're gonna... It's like a fucking SCP chat. It's breaching the ceiling. Okay, horrifying, but let's keep going.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How
Okay.
important we mustn't squander the opportunity.
Got
in
it.
fact, I believe I need a minute to think here.
Okay.
Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin.
Of course.
So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Okay. What?
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped.
Oh,
Does
shit.
that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Oh, okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay, we think we've seen
Stanley decided to go to the
almost
meeting
every
room.
ending.
Perhaps he had simply missed a
There's
memo.
like one more we think. But it would require going all the way back to the line. Fuck it, why not? Let's do it real quick.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting
there
room.
was a
and
way
Stanley knew it
to
perfectly well.
go down the
Perhaps
first
he
2
wanted to
doors
stop
again.
by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Alright, sure. There's one thing we want to try, but it's going to take us a second to get there.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
Trust, what do you
from
think of
here,
pickles?
It's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Take your time.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back.
Would you
to,
believe there's a second game that does
who am
this
I
that came out around the same
It's
time?
rubbish now. The whole story
Maybe even a little bit
completely
before.
unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game.
It was
from the
this
beginning.
2D
And this
action
time, suppose we
platformer
don't
game
wander so far
where
off track,
basically you could break the story and do all this
From
other
the
stuff
top.
by ignoring the narrator, just like that. But it was in like a combat brawler. Which is neat, because
All
in
his
one of the endings,
co-workers
the
were
boss,
gone.
like the creator,
What
just
could
got
it
so
mean?
pissed, he was like, "Fuck you,
Stanley
dead.
decided to go
I'm
to
doing the
meeting.
ultra final
Perhaps he had
boss."
simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago.
Yeah, if you
I know for
right-click,
sure
you
that
move
it's here
forward.
somewhere. Okay,
I
then.
don't know why.
It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
This one was speaking to us. We made a great mistake by being here. Okay. Where? Oh, well, shit. Oh, God, Chet, the country's a circle.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can
glad somebody
promise
did.
you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We know there's a way to,
Okay, yep, it's worse.
to
I might
get to
be
the boss's
remembering this
office.
wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
We're due to the line trademark. We think we can break something from there.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something.
We sure have,
The
Mr. Narrator.
story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Damn, he's done with this shit. No, there's a way where we can go left and right.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way,
There's like
is
one
the
ending we're
story of
trying
no
to get.
destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize.
Actually, Trust, didn't you say there was another ending?
You know
With,
what?
like, glitching out
I think
of
what
the
we
map?
need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
So, okay.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
Different.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No.
Maybe at which point?
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story.
Okay, we're just gonna reset the game. We thought that we could fucking do something there. So
All of his co-workers were gone.
you
What
said
did
like
it mean?
we can like crouch
Stanley
glitch
decided to go to the meeting
through
room.
the
Perhaps
elevator,
he
or
had
like
simply missed a memo.
walk off into like near the end. Oh, so there's an ending where he gets fed up with Stanley.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
No, you
well.
did.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first.
I
Just
don't
to
feel like
admire
looking it up.
And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
What if we
So
actually do
he
go back to the
detoured
story?
through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I wanted to see if he'd do anything different.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Well, thank God he's even sick of it by now. So see, we had to crouch at some point.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
He's like, around here?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Well, we're here now.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see,
Thank you.
back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours, so here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. But railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
Okay, is it bad that we actually like that song, though? That's actually a pretty good song. There's one more ending in the main
wind
game.
blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
There's one more in here, but we think we can try and come back and get it later.
Oh,
Let's see the new content.
new content?
Because we've never
What
really
does that
seen it.
mean? New content.
We've never really seen the new stuff. Like, we know a bit of it. Excited to explore.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
True. And as we all know,
After
2015 was that
receiving
old.
and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Oh.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay,
So if we
far
go
it's
off the fact of the ending where Stanley is in his own mind trying to get him to escape his boring office work is like canon, and all the other endings are kind of like reflections of that.
Nothing special.
Do we
yet,
love to
but
believe
I'm
this is him in
sure
the
it's just
future
the
after
beginning of
like
a
like a
mesmerizing
decade or
adventure.
so of being out of the 2013s? It's like, now welcome to further hell. I've made weird shit.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Or, oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready.
Have you
Let's
been more
do
ready,
it.
chat? Are you ready?
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Absolutely, my man.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Uh-huh. Okay. Cool shit.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
You believe it or
If this is
not.
new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there.
He says that, but chat, did you know on Steam you can buy the Bible? That's right, on Steam, for money, you can buy the Bible. It's not a video game. It's just the Bible. So he says as a joke, but people have actually done that.
I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the... What?
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance departments...
You're fucking joking. Holy shit, that is actually an achievement. Chat, that's
signed off
legitimately
on
an
this.
achievement.
I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Yeah, alright. Well, this doesn't look like the office at all.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Narrator? Yeah, alright. Should we be concerned, or...
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well,
Yes.
it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I
Hell
call it
yeah.
the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
This is like a drug still, to be honest. It's kind of just making us remember all of our favorite memories. This is about how we want him to be remembered.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
We just really like the music of this section. We'll be honest, the music's been fucking... Ooh. Super tasty. Person of the Year, Stanley. Like, this song we love.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Oh, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, it's actually kind of hitting weirdly hard checks. Well, we never got to play this game. They can't do anything. Literally anything. Remember though when this game first came out and all the good memories of back in those days. Where the hell are we going? Nope. That way.
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam. The
Truly a
online
fucking
video game
terrifying
distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
It's like an actual writer trying to figure this out. 'Cause, yeah, we've had the exact same thoughts. That's why taking criticism and work is very good. Because it has made us improve a lot of shit. And some things you just don't care for shit.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh,
And
this is not
here
what
it
they
is.
meant.
Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
The fuck is he talking about?
Look, I'll outline it for you very... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place.
You can edit it. We're not sure if you can change the rating. We're pretty sure you can change
I
both.
should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window, or something like that. Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time. That if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am... Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an
We're gonna go to the
impossibly
bathroom. Let's know what happens.
spring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it, I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible, the spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience, and then this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
We're confused. We're scared now. What happens if we... Oh no. Yeah, we like out of this one.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, "Entertain us." It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, "He's talking too much," they said. "First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world." As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, "Oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it." And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who.
So he lost his mind, huh? He just completely fucking lost it while we left?
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never
Okay.
the end,
Yep.
is never
Cool.
the end, is never 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 the end, is.
Uh-huh. What? Chat, we're scared. There's things out there. Mention shit breaks. Yeah. Oh, we know. What the fuck is that? Has the world been taken over by, like, ghouls or something? It was like a space pilot. A space pilot? What? No, it sounds like the apocalypse. Anyway, let's get out of here. Try exploring, you got it. We just want to play Fallout New Vegas. Hold on.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct?
Sure. Sounds like something we do here at this company.
Understood. Your order will be canceled immediately. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign.
We sure did.
Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
So he spent that time doing some shit, huh?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh? Oh, is that what we're doing?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why there are so many
You know
possible...
what else did this chat that was also fucking phenomenal? Around, like, the same time-ish, even? Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds a year or two ago also released a DLC for their game they released back in 2013 around. And it's fucking phenomenal. We played it and it was... Ooh. It's a game we have played on stream, but we think we'll play it again.
It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
They're back, 2 doors.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Of course, of course.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Sure. We'll give this one a try.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Sure is. Is this actually going to, though? To?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified.
Oh.
Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Okay.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
You really want us to... Okay.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Okay.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Red is the new orange. Infinite hole. What is the infinite hole? It won't end.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Damn, chat. Our actions actually had consequences in the video game. It's what we deserve. Get it here? Nice. Hell yeah.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel.
Of
to
course.
at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
It's Just not right now, huh? Yeah, we kinda got a little excited. Now we've been tricked. Bamboozled even.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
There's apparently a giant. What is all this?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Oh. It's perfect. Is that it? Is that... Okay.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Where is the hole? It won't end, chat. Okay. It just keeps going. Okay.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
So, Chet, you want to jump in it, though? But, like... Chat. What if? Fuck it.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Yep, sure could do that.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't
We
mean.
literally can't
Why
talk.
don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Alright, chat, let's get right back on that.
Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positive.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Oh, fuck.
I really, gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, there it is. The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley.
What?
You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Well. But it was worth it, right? Oh. Never seen that before? Ugh. We go deeper. Gasp, Stanley. Okay, so we look how the narrator went and stayed. Stanley just went, fuck it. I like how Stanley just decided to fucking play with it.
My head's stronger. You're no longer using up the space of mine. My head's stronger.
Oh. What the fuck is happening? What do you mean, Chaser?
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley!
Oh, what?
Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
We're just saying, Stanley was having a good time going insane.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
The reassurance bucket. Yeah, sure, we'll take that.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable
How did you spam the jump button?
perfectly
Nothing.
normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
What happens if you spam the jump
Come
button?
on, give it a try.
Who's to say?
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Hell.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Well, chat, we are very
Does
reassured.
anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
What the hell?
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Thanks for that.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
What's this way? Nothing. Okay. Well, that was the way for the Infinite Hall, wasn't it? What's all this then?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
This bucket makes us feel very secure, chat. Some like weird bullshit we gotta do in here. Sent you something? Oh no. Alright then. Setting is world champion.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is.
It's bad
I
since
give
someone
you
made a fight
the
scene.
Stanley Parable 2.
Yeah, that's basically how it is, though.
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Nice.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
Like version 1.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh, of course.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had... Stanley picked up the bucket.
Well, we feel very reassured, chat.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Fucking luck, so many things. Oh. Sure, we'll go normally.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd...
Bucket?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it
Bucket.
the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes,
bucket knows all.
This is certainly the most logical explanation.
The bucket knows all. Book his life correct. Joe, we should have grabbed milk. This
The elevator
spicy
raced
ramen.
downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Hell yeah.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the
bucket
large door
lodge,
that
skin
read
for red shoes,
Mind
yes.
Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
It's a fucking bucket. Ugh.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
No.
Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never...
We did it. We saved the day with the bucket.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it
Can we just rewrite every fucking story now with the bucket?
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly,
Yes.
the two of them began to discuss the
Phenomenal.
kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth.
Fucking what?
Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Oh, okay.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. When Stanley came to a set of
Did
two
we forget the
open...
bucket?
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped shortly after.
Give us our fucking bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley
Cool,
closed
'cause
the
we
bucket
have-
tightly to his chest.
we have things to
and
do with this
entered
bucket.
the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd come into a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had
Help us,
left his
bucket.
post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley.
But we have the bucket.
Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms.
Oh my God, yes,
Am
the
I
bucket.
crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all
What the
terribly
fuck is
wrong.
happening?
Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious. he exclaimed. "Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it." Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. "Stanley! Stanley, it's
The
me!
fuck is happening?
The bucket!" Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room,
One of these has to
passing
be our
by
bucket,
one
chat, one of
bucket
these.
after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. "Come to me, Stanley. Find me." He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
Oh.
The real bucket
The entire story changed because of the bucket. Oh, fuck yes.
was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this
Of course.
day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place.
Casual bucket of
How
security.
cruel
Of course, of
would
course.
be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Fucking what?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling
Who
him
doesn't
that
back
the
to work?
employee
True,
lounge
true.
was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Wrong.
No,
Said the bucket.
What?
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride
Get out
the
of our
lift
head,
all
bucket.
the way to...
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Oh, okay.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this... Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Bucket was a piece of shit.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift. Yeah, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this.
door to
obvious
ties
fact.
at the start.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed
Okay.
blindly.
Yeah.
Now pick up the phone. This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
We have a nice apartment, though. Damn. Hell yeah.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Question is, though, do you want it? Why would we want it?
Well, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid.
The fuck is happening?
Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket.
Oh no.
No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Oh, okay. Howdy.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
We'll be doing that, friend.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift. Yeah, good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do. Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Wrong. Where's the no narration?
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket?
That's
I
right.
suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the
This is a
story
bowl
is
for my
dependent
soup?
on your
Of course, of
understanding
course.
what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
As you wish. What the fuck is
Now
going
then,
on?
I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a hologram
What?
of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yep, that's a bucket.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that
Yeah,
tills the
but-
earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket?
Yeah, it sure is, man. Best bucket we've ever fucking...
Correct.
What?
This is a bucket.
Oh, okay.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
That's bucket.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've
That's
lost
fair.
all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Don't do it. Nothing holds everything which is inside a bucket.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket? My God, I had no idea. How could... except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
And we're back in better than ever.
Just a
buddy,
step
is this
through
bucket?
this
Stop
door,
that.
Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this...
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Okay, but what if we answer no to that
clutched
question
the
at the
bucket
end?
tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge
Well, that
was
can be called a
simply the
bucket.
place to
True,
be.
true.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I
Is that a
need you
fucking
to do.
collectible? Ugh.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly
Whoa.
did whatever the bucket asked.
Indeed, that is a collectible. Phenomenal.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
As you wish.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test
So is
scenarios,
a bucket?
and you'll
True,
tell me
true.
whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual
What is
bucket.
air a bucket? Are you a bucket, Tress?
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
Fucking what?
Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
What?
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
No.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket?
Okay, so we just do it again. Cool.
All
That's
his
probably
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply...
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfect.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the direct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
That won't be happening.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
What?
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much.
Not the broom
It's
closet.
this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before.
Not you, broom
Yes,
closet.
I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee!
Okay.
Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
And the baby, I thought you cared about us. That's the problem. I care too
Now
much.
this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
No.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character.
No.
This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Oh. No, I can't.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
No.
Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
I thought we were married.
Go ahead.
No, that
now,
was the
Stanley.
mannequin.
Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
It's him.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Damn. He's fucking dead.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
A good bucket, a strong bucket,
Time to
a
crush it.
humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him.
We must
telling him
feed
that
the bucket to
employee
the
lounge
bucket
was
machine,
simply the
chat.
place
We
to
must.
be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Alright, let's see what happens.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come
Even
together
the
here because we
pencil
care about
sharpener.
you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're
Also,
the
we'd like to
ones that
point out the
matter,
line has
Stanley.
just been kept
Classic
going like a
characters from the
fucking
first
SCP.
game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new.
Adventure Line
yes,
is an
that's
SCP.
what the
Good.
fans want. Let's do it.
Double check it.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
We can't
Can you
turn off
guess
the
what
machine,
the Bucket
can
Destroyer
we?
does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket.
We're
Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality
You gotta
trait
feed it the
deserve to
thing.
join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really
Stop
like
resisting
10
bucket.
personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting big.
Alright, well, we can't get rid of the bucket. So what if we try turning on the machine?
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
What door at the start?
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Okay.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Fucking serious? We're doing something with the bucket? Not yet. We'll probably do that later.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The embrace of an old friend, a weathered companionship that stands the test.
Okay, great. Now, go touch the bucket on door 437 a few times.
The bucket?
Yes, now we're getting somewhere. How about door 415? Give it some bucket love.
Never say that again.
Now back to door number 437.
Bucket love.
You know, I think the copy machine needs some attention. Why don't you rub the bucket on it? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now bring the bucket on top of employee 419's desk.
Okay. Have we not put it on their desk? Or when they say that, do they mean, you know, put it on the desk? There's a drop key? Field of view 72. Thank you.
Yes, this is great.
Okay, cool.
Now the bucket knows exactly what it's like to be employee 419. Now, let's introduce it to door 416.
As you wish.
We've almost got it. Now make the bucket and the copy machine touch again.
Stop, please.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 touches of the bucket on door 4. Yes! We did it!
Nice.
Wow! That felt amazing.
430 times.
Not all buckets will get this kind of experience. They won't all know what it's like to slam repeatedly against nearly every door. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Okay, chat.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
So you know what we have
Perhaps
to
his
do?
boss's office was where he'd coming to a staircase.
Oh,
Stanley
just
and the
easily
bucket
5
walked
clicks. Of
upstairs
course.
to the boss's office.
That's true. From a certain point of view. What? What? Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. crushed by the weight of this, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
The bucket knows all.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Let's activate the machine with the bucket. And then try to escape with the bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
What could it hold? If we don't already know.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never!
You gotta eat. We think we're about to wrap up.
The bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
The bucket.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this... But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along?
No.
To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Oh.
Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Oh.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Alright, one more time. Let's try to
The
escape.
bucket made Stanley want to be a better man, and up Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase,
to escape,
Stanley
chap.
and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Could also try the back out ending.
Stepping in.
Oh well. Bucket, come along, we've escaped again. the hell out of here, chat. We have to get to the escape pod again. We have to get out of here. We're almost to the escape pod, chat. Before the narrator realizes. We're almost there. Oh. We gotta get the hell out of here, Bucket. We gotta get the hell out of here. Goodbye, Bucket. No. No, Stanley, you can't leave the bucket like this. Okay, then. But, like,
All of
fucking
his
why,
coworkers
though?
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Fuck is our bucket? Now hold up, where the fuck did our bucket go? Replacement bucket. Okay, cool.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
Hey Stanley, it's me. Just calling to let you know that you left your bucket at home. Silly. It's okay.
No.
I'm off to pick up groceries soon, so I could swing by your work and drop the bucket off at... Oh, wait a minute. This isn't your bucket. Wait, whose bucket is this? Well, if it doesn't belong to anyone else, I guess I could just, keep it. Yeah, I'd really like to hang out with this bucket for a while.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, what was I saying? Oh yeah, have a nice day at work. I'll be here at home with my bucket.
But
Bye, Stanley.
But our office is over. Whatever. Freedom.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form,
What the
transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages
Of
and knew
course.
the incantations to summon their true power.
Naturally.
Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Yeah, we take
Perhaps
another
he had
bucket.
simply missed. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by... But Stanley guessed the correct code by...
Alright, chat, we're gonna be right back. We're gonna go to the bathroom. We're back.
By sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Hey, we can't think of a better one. That was a collectible.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
We'll be fine. Ah, shit.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket.
Sure was.
It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket. Are you what?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Uh-huh. Okay. Of course, of course.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Huh?
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Are we the bucket now? It would have been really funny if we were just the bucket now.
All of his co-workers...
Alright, chat. Watch the Stanley Parable. But I think we're gonna switch over to something else for a hot second. So we'll be right back with that. We had a good time. We know we did, and we'll see all y'all in a second.